Hi, I am Bill Skripchek, president of Waverider Trading Technologies. The FX Morning Mayhem podcast is an essential listen for currency traders. Each episode covers a curated watch list of key currency pairs alongside insightful market observations. It highlights crucial daily news events that could influence the market, ensuring traders are well informed. Additionally, the podcast offers valuable trading strategy tips, catering to both new and experienced traders in the Forex market. This podcast is for educational purposes only. None of this info should be construed as investment advice. To see the trades called out live on our Slack channel, click the link in the description to join the trade faction. And now on with the show.
Let's see what's happening with the news today. Not a lot. We have crude oil inventories at 9:30 in the morning. It is an FOMC minutes day, so I expect it's going to be like super boring today until about 1 o'clock when they release the minutes and go over that again. So if they find any little nuggets in there, it may rattle the world loose. But right now it is freaking boring.
Yeah.
So here's where we're at. Aussie Canadian dollar. We are in a minor wave top, so we're looking for shorts. We successfully traded this and made money. I traded this and made just a little bit of money. I just got out of this thing a little bit ago with about 5 or 6 pips.
Okay.
I just don't feel comfy sitting in it going into the Fed minutes. Yeah, I just think it could do one of these. So I'm flat going into the Fed minutes. Same story holds true for this one, although I made about 20 pips on this one. Got in the trade here and got out somewhere around here-ish. But I also am flat this, and I don't want to be in this trade until after the minutes. Aussie US dollar, a minor wave top. This thing's really run its course. We did this trade last week. It's just been hovering around the bottom here. I think a lot of these are just going to be hovering around the bottom here until those minutes come out. So nothing to do here. Euro, Singapore dollar. We talked about this one yesterday. Minor wave bottom. This one, we're waiting for it to set up for a long, but in order for that to happen, the trend has to change first. And then we will look for a pullback pattern or whatever the AI finds for us to go long on that. New Zealand, Canadian dollar, almost the exact same story. Minor wave top, hovering around the bottom, waiting for the trend to change back to the upside. And then New Zealand US dollar is the only one that is indicating a possible HypeX signal. It actually fired here, but it didn't show up in my alerts, which is really weird. Sometimes I think their alert system goes wonky.
Yeah.
But that's okay because it continued to go down. So had we taken that, we'd be sitting at a loss right now, depending on whatever your strategy is. The line is painting right about here. So if prices were to rise above that line, I would probably get in it long on a HypeX. So there's your analysis.
All right.
Okay. People like the topics.
Oh,
Yeah, the one we put out yesterday got a lot of views. So here's my question to you, Dave. The topic is zero to hero.
Okay.
How long do you think it takes to get good at this shit? Must be a long time. That's a long pause.
It is. You can know a lot about everything. If you spend a couple months, you can get the gist of it. But I think it takes, there's 2 sections of this. There's one, the understanding and all the book smarts that you have to learn.
Okay.
And then I think you have to sit behind the driver's seat for a while.
Okay.
Because a lot of times when I first started, I had too many pairs when we went in there. I think it was good that you started me off with just one and focused on just one, because then you can start reading that market. And that was easier. Because because each market has its own feel, its own kind of touch and everything else like that going forward, at least in my opinion. So how long I've been doing this, I feel comfortable, and it took me about a year. I think I'm doing this about a year.
Yeah.
I would say about a year doing this.
Okay.
And I can feel comfortable clicking the button, because there's a ton of information there, but there's a fear factor of clicking that button and of what if I'm wrong. So it's not so much, hey, if everything works great, that's fantastic. That's easy. It's what happens when I'm wrong. And that's where the fear from clicking that button goes in. That fear is gone away for the most part. So that's where I'm at right now. So I would go about a year.
Okay. Cool.
Maybe 9 months, a year, before you feel comfortable doing some of these things. At least that was for me.
I would agree with you 1,000%. I can usually teach people the tech part of it, or yeah, I don't know what you want to call it. The analysis part of it, depending on the person, a month to 3 months for them to feel comfy with that. But like you said, the time in the chair, I just from people that I've trained in the past, anywhere from 6 months to a year, gets you to what I would call novice, right? You know what you're doing, you got a little bit of experience, you can fly the plane, but there's
Right.
no guarantee you won't crash it.
Absolutely.
Some people go into this with really unrealistic expectations. They 2 week, 3 weeks, and they're trading live money and all that stupid shit. That's really a bad plan. It really is like any other profession. If you're going to learn how to be an accountant or a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer, you got to put in the time, or a coder, programmer,
Yeah.
software developer. You got to put in the time and learn how to do that stuff. And when you first start, you're just an idiot.
I
And
hear
there's
you.
nothing wrong with that. You got to make mistakes, because if you don't make mistakes, you're never going to learn anything. The worst thing that can happen to people, and I've seen this happen, is they get into it and they get like a run right out of the chute.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that is like the kiss of death. And you can't say anything to them because they just think they got it all figured out.
Yep.
And then the next time you talk to them, they have no money.
Oh yeah, because they overcompensate for everything. They're like, oh, I know how to do this. I'm gonna bet the farm. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, that's psychologically what happens. They get it right, and their bet just keeps accumulating, getting bigger and bigger until they finally get to that point where it's we bet the farm, but this time it didn't work and the
Yeah.
farm is gone. So, yeah, you got to be careful on that. You got to go in with baby steps and all that good shit. Cool. That's what I wanted to cover, and thank you for your honest input.
Yeah, no worries.
Appreciate that. Hopefully that will help some of you people out there in listening land.
Yeah. Bet
Um,
small.
bet small, take your time. It's like any other job. You got to learn how to do it. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. If you're betting teeny weeny, then there's no big deal, right? So do
Yep.
that when you start. Don't immediately do 100,000 lot sizes. Do, 10 or 100 or whatever, where you're making or losing pennies. That way you still get the same experience exactly that you would trading big bucks, but if you screw up, you lose $1.50 instead of 150,000.
And you can do that waterfall or grid or whatever.
Yes, and you can do the waterfall dollar cost averaging, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
Trading
to
plan.
help salvage some of that money.
Yep, exactly. I totally agree.